I was talking to some journalists, and I said to them, do you realize what's been bubbling up in this country and what's coming next? I was like, it's almost easy for them, because I was like, you're a couple white people. Like, the lines being drawn are easy. At this the precinct that was getting raided, I think this is where it was. Maybe it was somewhere else. You hear someone shouting, "Shoot the white people," over and over again. What? I almost don't even want to say it. Yeah, it's in the videos that are going viral.
Cow.
I was in Milwaukee in 2017, was it? I think maybe it was even 2016. And we were still living in Miami at the time.
Oh yeah.
So I went to Milwaukee, and while I was there, because it was some dude, he got killed, and it was a Black Lives Matter protest, they were shouting things about getting the white people, and an 18-year-old white kid got shot in the neck.
Oh my gosh.
And so I filmed this. I was standing feet from the police.
Wow. When
an armored personnel carrier pulled up. I saw this. We heard the gunshots. I saw this kid, 18-year-old white kid, was not involved in anything. Someone shot him in the neck. Some dude, it was a black dude, picked him up and carried him into a house trying to save his life. I guess they called for help. An armored truck pulls up, and a bunch of SWAT cops come out with their rifles, and they were I don't know what the formation is called, but they're all standing in a circle as they move.
Okay.
So every direction is covered. They go up to the house. The kid comes outside. He's holding a napkin on his a napkin on his neck because he's bleeding. And the cops run up, and I'm standing right there, and they pick him up and they rush him into the APC and take him out.
Wow. That
was it for me. I was like, they have said it. They said they were targeting white people.
Yeah.
And I was like, it's not safe. I was like, I'm not, so I made a video about it, and it pissed off like basically the entire left. And I don't care. I don't care if you're pissed off.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't make this video to be like, some kind of shock moment.
Yeah, it actually happened.
And I had fans, I shouldn't say fans, but like subscribers who follow my news coverage. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, this is why I'm leaving, and I won't be covering this anymore. And people were like, sorry to hear it, man. And I was like, if you're perceivably white, then it is a serious risk to your safety to be here, because they've I'm sorry, man. When I see an 18-year-old kid, unrelated, not in the protest, just minding his own business, get shot in the neck, I draw the line somewhere.
I don't talk about this often, but my uncle got murdered by a group of black men.
Oh, man.
He got shot in the chest.
Do you know why?
Because they assumed he had money. They said, give me the money. He said, I don't have it. I don't have anything. He wasn't rich, he's not a rich family. And he got shot and killed. And this is, it's like I don't talk about it often, but it's like it happens all the directions. I don't hate black people now. I know, there's probably young kids in trouble, probably influenced by
it's Chicago.
Life. No, this was in Florida, actually.
Oh, wow.
And it's like, okay, is that going to change? Is that going to make me want to hate all black people? No. I know it's an incident that happened. It's terrible. I miss him. He was an amazing man. But it happens both ways. It all happens.
The craziest thing about this is that that moment you're describing would make a lot of people racist.
I'm sure.
And it's not right, and it doesn't change the problems, it doesn't fix anything. And it's some criminals, but look at what's happening right now in Minneapolis, and they don't see it the same way.
Yeah.
They were what were they yelling outside of CNN?
CNN?
No, something about
anything else.
Was it not? It was maybe it was a different clip. It was like F the white people or whatever. Mm-hmm. And then there was the clip from the place where they were like, shoot the white people. And you've seen all of this stuff. It's been happening, dude.
Yep.
It's been on Twitter. This is why. Okay, so this is the story I'm trying to tell you. When I had these journalists and I was hanging out with them, I said, have you been paying attention to what they're saying on social media about white people? You tell me it's a joke, okay? But I have been on the ground and I watched a kid get shot in the neck. I know it's not.
Yeah.
They say they tweet these things, and they mean it. And I don't like the racial tensions. I don't like the stoking of fears, and I don't like any of that stuff.
Yep, same.
And it's obviously a small faction of people, big enough to make an impact, where you actually have now mainstream journalists saying these things, and it's okay. And this is the escalation of violence we saw coming when they punched Richard Spencer in the face in D.C. And I, as well as many other people, were like, that was wrong. I certainly don't like the guy's opinions.
Yeah.
But he was just a dude standing on a street corner and someone clocked him. All these mainstream journalists. What did they say? They laughed about it. They made it go viral. They were sharing the videos. They were remixing the videos. Haha, this is funny. This is funny. This is funny.
Nope.
I said, do you know what happens when you do that? You get 500 people showing up in Charlottesville now saying they want revenge, and then you get that horrifying moment.
Yep.
You don't understand. Escalation begets escalation. So if you want to go around punching people, that's the last thing we need to happen. You make everything worse.
Yep.
That's what scares me about this. The weird thing about all this Minneapolis stuff is that the conservatives aren't necessarily backing the cops for the most part. They're like, you just enforced a bunch of unconstitutional orders. You think I'm going to stand next to you now while you...
No way.
After months of doing that.
Right.
Yeah.
Oppressing us.
Yeah.
And not only that, but I mean, the killing of George Floyd was just insane. And so now...
Agreed.
On a principles level, you got Sean Hannity being like, no, man. The dude was kneeing that guy's neck 3 minutes after he lost his pulse. I want to be careful about what I say here. But according to the medical examiner, the medical report, the dude became unresponsive after 6 minutes of him kneeing him on the neck. And then one of the cops said, I can't find something about not finding a pulse. And the dude kept his knee on his neck for 3 minutes. 2 minutes and 53 seconds.
After he lost his pulse.
Yeah. So the medical examiner said something like, this isn't, there was no sign of traumatic asphyxiation or strangulation.
Okay.
But it was a combination of his health his health issues and the restraint that ultimately cost him his life. And they added in the report that the cops knew, they were trained that this position was dangerous. So this guy's getting locked up. But yeah, man.
As he should be.
So I'm trying to finish the story about the journalist. I told him everything I have seen has, said to me that I think we're heading towards what will end up being terrifying racial tensions. Terrifying. Like what I saw in Milwaukee in 2018. I'm like, I grew up in Chicago. You think it's the first time I've experienced something like that? And the thing for me is that it's a meme, obviously. I come from a mixed race family. So I don't get the privileges among the horrifying racist, white supremacist types.
Yeah.
And I don't get it among the social justice types because I look too white. So it's like, for me and my family, it's run, hide, bunker down, defend yourself. But there's no faction for the regular people. So this is what scares me when they start yelling these things. I have friends who used to be lefty and now they're right wing because they had the same things happen to them. People screaming, white swears at them, like you white, effer and stuff like that. And they're like, not even. But it makes people, it's just there. And that's what freaks me out about seeing my friend post this thing saying like all white people now need to step up and do these things. I'm like, that is a cult. And that's like,
yeah.
What do you think's going to happen? Do you think that when they're screaming, shoot the white people, that you get a magic pass? Is that why you're doing it? Do they think that they'll be the ones saying like, look at the thing I posted, please don't hurt me? And I'm not talking about black people doing it. I'm talking about the social justice Antifa lunatics, which could include white people as well.
Yep.
I don't know what these people could expect, man. But I don't know, dude. I'm getting all riled up. Here, listen, when we were starting this show, we were like, oh, look, Mark Zuckerberg's talking about this. And then the White House lockdown and then the CNN stuff. Atlanta? We're like, whoa, it's happening in Atlanta?
Yep.
Yeah, it's happening in Brooklyn right now. They're beating people.
They're beating people. Mm-hmm. Who's beating people?
The cops, pepper spray, nightsticks.
Lydia came in the room and was like, we should do a lighthearted episode, guys.
Yeah.
It's like,
should do a lighthearted
let's have
episode.
some
I'm
fun
over
tonight.
here like, oh, man.
We were like, we got this
heavy.
really great story where a
No.
dude raised a couple $100,000, several $100,000 to get his business
I
back.
want to get there.
And then the White House gets locked down.
Ugh.
And then CNN gets bombarded. And I was like, whoa, dude. The White House lockdown. Has that happened recently?
I don't know. Let me look it up.
So, okay. I want to read your super chats. I feel really bad because, look, it's a combination of, this is like...
There's a lot of heavy stuff happening right now.
Yeah. It's getting worse.
It's heavy, man.
And I'm hoping it rolls away, but it's Friday night. And I've experienced covering this stuff on the ground. Not only have I covered multiple riots and protests and events throughout the past decade, I've also been in other countries doing it as well. Adam's been on the ground a couple times with me in some of these places.
Yep.
And I know what happens on Friday night. I know what happens on Saturday.
Ooh, people get wild.
People. You know what's contributing to all of this is that one of the biggest factors stopping mass explosions of rage and violence is jobs.
Jobs.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
keep people busy.
Nobody got them anymore. So this was just like the keg got lit.
Yep.
What? Yeah, I'm telling you, man. I know it's like a cliche for Tim Pool to say it's going to benefit Trump. But this is something I've pointed out before, that when Antifa does this is what I said several years ago. When Antifa goes out and smashes windows, starts fires, burns things down, you know what people do? They say, save us. They scream for help. And when Trump stands up and says, I'm the one to do it, you think they'll pick Biden when their buildings are being burned to the ground? They're going to want that nasty, nasty, mean dude.
I don't know.
They're going to want all the boorish bullying behavior from that man.
Need that guy in
And
the
they don't
corner.
want, yeah, they're scared. So I don't know how true this is, but I read that when people get scared, they vote Republican. Because the Republicans are the law and order candidates.
It's true.
Yeah.
Security, military,
Yep.
strength, order. It's really easy when you have the best economy ever to be comfortable. To
Yep.
say, you know, orange man bad, we want a soft, sophisticated president. And then the pandemic hits. Then your business is gone. Now you're scared. Then all of a sudden someone shows up and kicks the door in. So what do? You defend yourself. Now you're getting charged with murder. You know, I'd be willing to bet Donald Trump would end up, you know, ultimately defend that guy.
The pawn shop owner.
Yeah, or conservatives in general are
Yeah,
outraged.
absolutely.
So, so for those that aren't familiar, there's a pawn shop owner in Minneapolis. A looter breaks in, shoots and kills him. Got charged with murder. And we talked about this the other night, because at first I'm kind of like, man, maybe he should have fled. But think about it. You're in a building. You're in your building. Doors are locked. Outside, fire's burning. The city's burning down. They're screaming. They're angry. You don't want to go outside. What if you go out the back door? Someone's breaking in. Maybe his friends are waiting for you. It's a riot.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you go out the back door and then someone catches you. So what do? You defend your space. What does the government do? Murder charge. So what do you do?
Yeah, exactly.
See, I get it. The government's saying, like, we better charge them with murder, otherwise they're going to riot again. It's going to get worse. So what happens? They keep doing it. People are going to defend themselves. It's going to keep happening.
Yeah, I think so.
I hope come Monday, everybody wakes up and it's over. But this year has been an escalation, endlessly, just getting crazier and crazier. When the pandemic news first started, it wasn't that big of a deal for most people. It was like, wow, this is crazy. What's happening in China? Then it hit us.
Mm-hmm.
Then all of a sudden, they said 15 days, slow the spread. Then it was 2 weeks. Then it was extended.
Now it's months.
Now it's months. Now
90 days almost now?
Yeah.
Is it past 90? I don't even know.
they haven't even, and now
80
New York
days.
doesn't care. We're locking down. We got the data. We don't care. We're locking down.
Yep.
So the protesters come out. They don't care about the lockdown. Imagine what it's like if you are a family. You know, you have a family. You've played by all the rules. You said, okay, we'll lock down. All those commercials where they're like, we're here, we're with you together. You've seen those commercials, like
Yep.
every single
Ugh.
one's the same. Imagine you're one of those people who fell for that, and you lost your job, and you're running out of food, and you're saying, if I just keep a smile on my face and hold on through the night, we're all in this together. And then those people you thought that were in this with you threw a brick through your window and burn your building down. So, no. What does that person do? And I know it may be a bit hyperbolic, but I got an email from somebody living in Minneapolis being like, I had to flee. So what happens when you follow all these rules, and then who's there for you? Nobody. Did the government have your back?
Mm-mm.
They didn't. They
Nope.
actually made it worse when they went after when they sparked this off.
Yep.
People were looking for something to be mad about. They were mad. They were depressed. Think about this, man. Everybody who was locked down lost their purpose.
Yep.
They lost their job. They lost their meaning.
If they even had one to begin with.
That's a lot of the.
A job is not enough.
Yeah, I agree.
Sometimes it is. Sometimes it is. But a lot of times it isn't. So then to lose the job that was barely keeping you just sane, you know, and then you lose it. And then it's months go by. And then you have this authority going, you can't go anywhere or else we're going to arrest you.
Yeah.
And then you see it happening. It's like, man.
I'll tell you what.
And then this happens. It's not surprising.
The feeling is like every day the government has their hand over your heart and they're slowly squeezing it.
Yep.
You can feel that pain as everything crumbles around you, as you're getting cabin fever. A lot of people in these big cities, they're locked up in cubicle apartments. And you can feel that pain every day, but you know if you just wait, eventually it will be okay. And then this happens with Floyd.
Jeez.
And then this rage, this anger
Yep.
is focused, hyper-focused. I can imagine that, man. I can empathize with that feeling, but I wish that it wasn't this bad. And then the way I've been thinking about it too is when we talk about these left-wing protesters who go around just burning stuff and rioting,
Mm-hmm.
part of the social justice stuff has to do with the fact that people have no purpose anymore.
Yep.
There was there were questions raised about whether religion is like something that humans need. They must have. Heads up. He's going for it. We got a cat came in. But let me continue. There's questions of whether or not humans need religion, because without it, they replace it with, dogma, and they've replaced it with social justice ideology. And now it's like a hollow shell of what religion was. But if you think about, I've often wondered about how things maintained order in the past, and if everyone agreed they were scared of the same God, they had a shared cultural community and understanding.
Yeah.
So it kept things calm in a lot of ways. But now we're at a point where no one really agrees on their purpose and what they're doing.
Yep. It's true.
You get these young idealistic individuals and they ask themselves, why am I alive? Sorry, buddy, I can't tell you. I don't know either. I made my purpose. You got to make yourself. You got to carve yourself out of stone. These people didn't do that. But then someone came along and said, I'd like to introduce you to purpose. And they presented them some intersectional guidebook.
Yep.
Antifa, the Antifa handbook. All of a sudden now they found their purpose. You combine that with a lot of people whose purpose was their jobs. I wake up, I go to the office, and that's my mission. I wake up, I go to school, that's my mission. And then you shut it all down for 3 months. And now they're sitting there depressed. Suicides have gone up.
Yep.
There's like crazy stories about this. And they're questioning, why are they even here? Then George Floyd gets killed. And they think to themselves, this is my purpose. So they go out in these massive crowds across the country, and it magnifies all of that social justice outrage. And this is what we get.
Yep.
Night 3, crazier than I've ever seen. I'm hoping that it boils over.
Yeah.
But why isn't the lockdown lifted? Certainly, the lockdown's been voided, right? No one's caring anymore. Cars are out. They're doing their thing. They're going to beaches. Nobody cares.
Seems like it, yeah.
Yet your business can't reopen. Is this what they want? They wanted their cities destroyed? The crazy thing to me is you can see it all. Like you can see it. When they said we're locking things down, what have I been saying? What has everyone else been saying? We got to reopen the economy. These businesses can't survive. They're not coming back. We don't care. Yep. That's what they said. We don't care. They just do not care.
They said it without saying it.
I think it was Bill de Blasio who literally said it.
Oh,
Yeah.
seriously?
Mm-hmm.
He said, these businesses, they can hold off longer. What was the exact quote?
I don't know.
It was something like that. They can't. And
No, they
now
can't.
they're going to burn the place to the ground because you pushed them too far.
As I said, businesses in New York City were already going under because it's so expensive to run a business in New York City. The rent is insane, no matter where you are. If you want to be in any relevant place, it's expensive.
Way too expensive.
Right. 3 months? Like, all right, your rent's due now. Oh, you don't have it? Goodbye.
Yeah.
This Starbucks will pay us the
What do you
money.
think that person's going to do?
I don't know.
I want to make sure I
Join the
clarify
crowd.
Yeah, join the crowd.
clarify what I was saying a second ago because I think I misspoke. I'm saying I hope everything simmers down. I said boil over, right?
I
Yeah,
didn't notice that.
I see what you mean now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Simmers
Simmering
down.
Yeah, simmers down. That's the right one, right?
Cools off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I mean blows over.
Yeah.
That's
Right.
No,
that's the
not
one.
a good combination
That's the
there.
one. Yeah, we're gonna go to the Winchester, have a pint, wait for it all to blow over. But I'm not convinced. And the scary thing is we got the South China Sea, we got Iranian gunboats zigzagging around our ships.
Mhm.
People are,
Shooting
we got
themselves.
Venezuela trying to ram that vessel.
Mm-hmm.
Is this it? Is this, So I guess, I think the important thing to clarify, we talk about Boogaloo because it's popular right now in terms of terminology.
Yeah.
The coming second Civil War II, American Boogaloo. No, I'm talking about, I think collapse is probably a better way to put it.
But that's
Yeah, good
depressing.
point.
That's depressing.
Yeah, the idea of a collapse.
But it's accurate though.
I know it's accurate, but I like the sound of Boogaloo much better. Kind of.
Well, there's a
postpones the
difference
inevitable.
though.
Yeah.
Boogaloo is people fighting,
Like actively.
and then what happens is the collapse. And
Yeah.
the collapse can happen whether or not we have a Boogaloo.
That's true.
And that's what I feel is going to happen. I
if we
feel
stay
like
locked down.
it feels like the lockdown is over.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it feels like even if we try to open up, the country's collapsing.
Yeah.
We're
I think
we're
you're right.
witnessing it right now.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah, I
So
don't
does
know.
someone come in? Do we get attacked? Like, you know that I guess it's a fake quote. The reason why Japan didn't invade America is because there's a rifle behind every blade of grass. Apparently, it was attributed to Yamamoto of Japan, but it's like it's apocryphal, disputed, the saying, we don't know if it's true, because we were just looking this stuff up. How would you invade America if they have a massive armed population?
Wait until everyone's at each other's throats.
Put
like
everyone
right now.
Put everyone at each
Yeah.
other's throats.
Yep.
And have them fight each other so you can sweep in. The
Yep.
only way.
What's that tell them about identity politics?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Introduce them to identity politics. Where did that all come from? Been a long time coming. Some people think it's like a long con from the Soviet Union, Soviet era.
Meh.
I don't care about speculating. I think the ideas are kind of funny, but
Man, all I can think is that tweet that I tweeted. It was that Hillary comment about cozying up with China, and then like how she was like, yeah, well, you know, we should cozy up with them. We should ask them to hack Trump's emails. And I was like,
Right.
what am I hearing right now? It's like, it feels like they're kind of pawns.
she was making a point about what Trump had said.
Sure.
Because Trump said
In the
Russia, if
worst
you're-
way.
Yeah.
Right.
Terrible way.
Absolutely. Yep. Of course. And everyone was like, did she just break the law? Like admitting
Yeah.
if they thought that was illegal and then she did this. But she was trying to be make this like, I don't know, hyperbolic point. So here's what I hope, man. I hope everybody has taken care of yourself and your family. I'm not saying to go build a bunker or anything like that. Actually, you know what? Let me stop right here. Earlier this year, when we saw the pandemic coming,
Yep.
and I did these food promos, I was like, don't build a bunker, just prepare, have some food. I'm not talking about 30-year stock. I'm talking about like a little dry food bucket. Now I think it's actually fair to say the preppers were right. I'm not saying the world's going to end, but I'm saying you see this stuff. The White House gets put on lockdown. Where does that go next?
Man,
Is it gonna get worse?
preppers across America are going, we're ready for this.
Yeah, they got a point.
They literally
Bring it
are.
on.
They literally are, because
Yeah.
I met some and talked to them when I was in Arizona.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Like
Yeah.
last month.
Mm-hmm.
No, this was 3 weeks ago. We were in Arizona. We pull into this small town. No lockdowns. Burger joints open. We walk in this gas station. They're serving burgers. No one's wearing any masks. And I'm like, I'm wearing a mask, and I'm like, what's going on
I feel
here?
out of
Yeah.
place with my
And I
mask
walk
on.
up to buy some coffees, and I ask, I'm like, nobody's wearing any masks. And she goes, oh no, we don't care. And I was like, you're not worried about like this? She goes, we're preppers. And I was like, really? And she goes, yeah. She was like, you know how like all the toilet paper got snatched up? She's like, my husband looked at me and said, do we have enough toilet paper? And she laughed. She's like, we're preppers. She told her husband that, and they laughed. She's like, we got 3 months worth. We got a lot
Yeah,
of.
I told you about the old nuclear silo in Jersey that's available, right?
Oh, really?
I'm just saying.
Nuclear silos.
Let's bring that up.
I
Yeah,
like
that's
that.
reenforced to withstand a nuclear assault itself, right?
Okay,
Yeah, I think
let's
so.
All right, there we
buy
go.
that.
Let's,
Mhm. I'll help you
so-
build it out.
So how many
Nope.
stories down is it going?
I'm curious now.
No,
Pretty deep.
I mean, it would be really cool to have like a subterranean hangout of some sort.
Yeah.
I don't really think people need bunkers right
Like
now.
that.
Make a
would be-
crazy skate park in the bottom of the silo.
Oh yeah.
But I'll tell you
That'd
something,
be
man.
pretty cool, actually.
Oh man.
I'll tell you something.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm frequently correct. I don't think I'm always correct.
Frequently correct.
Frequently correct. And I attribute this to playing chess since I was a little kid.
Okay.
My mom taught me how to play chess. Like I could play chess when I was before. I can't even remember being alive and not knowing how to play chess.
Bro, we should play chess. I was on the chess team.
Well, we play Magic. You know what I mean? Magic's more
I
fun.
know, but no, we don't play Magic anymore.
Yeah, because it's broken.
Magic
But,
is busted. All right, go ahead. Finish your point.
The point is, it taught me planning ahead and calculating multiple moves and variables and all this stuff.
Yeah.
And I grew up with that. I would say in my late teens, I was thinking about everything happening around us and conflict and war. And I thought to myself, it's impossible to calculate every variable. And it's harder and harder to calculate variables as you move further and further ahead.
Mm-hmm.
True.
So right now I can say like, what would happen if I got up? You know, there's like 10 different potential things that could happen. You might say something, she might say something. And then after that, then you got to calculate all the next 10 variables. So it's like exponentially.
Exponential, yeah.
So you can only go so far. However, what I'm bringing up is that when I was younger, looking at everything happening in the world and the media, I thought to myself that I felt like around the time I was 35, everything was going to fall apart.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's funny because I have maintained, like I've always thought this to myself. Like I was like 19 years old and I'm like, yep, but probably by the time I'm 35 is when, you know, it just, for whatever reason, that's what I just felt like I could see it. I could feel it in my gut.
That's approaching.
But I may be wrong. I'm just bringing it up because it's something I've always had in the back of my mind throughout my entire life. And as all of this stuff happened from Occupy Wall Street, especially 10 years ago, I was like, wow. And it's funny at the time, I'm thinking like, maybe I had my timetables wrong. Maybe it falls apart. And then everything blows over and I'm like, I don't know. And it was actually crazy to me because then, you know, this year starts the impeachment's happening,
Mm-hmm.
and all the protest stuff we saw before. And I'm like, I'm going to be 35 next year. I'm 34 right now. Is it? It's like, is this going to fall apart? Is this going to go nuts? Is Trump going to get reelected, triggering these far left to screech about some insanity? Or am I just, paranoid?
I don't know, man. There's evidence the polls are shifting. Stuff's happening.
Stuff's crazy.
It's
Yeah,
really weird.
Earth is changing
But I'll tell you
in front of our eyes.
Yeah.
I'll tell you one story that makes me always trust my gut instinct. I was briefly staying on Fort Carson near Colorado Springs.
Okay.
I think it's basically Colorado Springs.
It is, in fact, Colorado
it
Springs.
is, right. And on my way back, I was finally back in Illinois because I had gone to visit my sister. I'm driving in, this is in Glen Ellen, Illinois.
Oh, yeah.
I'm
I
driving.
know Glen Ellen. It's a
Yep.
nice little town.
It is. And I'm driving down Roosevelt
Okay.
when I see a squad car behind me. And I'm thinking to myself, he's probably running my plates. Like, I'm probably going to get pulled over.
Mm-hmm.
And then he pulls up to my right, and then he speeds off. And then I'm like, guess it was nothing. As I come up this ridge, I see him pull into the left lane and put his left signal on. And I thought to myself right that moment, he's like a few blocks in front of me. I can turn right here and just go to the store, pick up some snacks. No, I'm being paranoid. He wasn't running my place. He's not going to pull me over. He's turning left. Guess what happened?
Pulled you over.
Right when I
Yep.
passed him, he flicked his lights on, pulled me over. Turns out, so this was an illegal stop. It turns out that, well, arguably, he ran my plates, and because I had got a I got a speeding ticket when I wasn't speeding. Here's
Okay.
what happened. 3 months prior, I was exiting on Lakeshore Drive. I mentioned this the other day, I think.
Yeah.
And it's a 45 mile an hour speed limit. I was slowing down to get off, and I get pulled over.
Yeah.
And this cop walks up and says, I pulled you over. And I was like, what? No. And he's like, you're speeding. And I was like, I wasn't speeding. He's like, I don't care. Tell it to a judge. Sign here. So I didn't know that under the age of 21, if you get two moving violations within 3 years, they instantly suspend your license.
Whoa.
I thought, I'm going to go to court on this one, and I'm going to say I didn't speed.
Yeah.
And I'll fight it However, I went to visit my sister because her husband was overseas, and, my family was like, you're not doing anything. Why don't you go hang out with her for a little bit, keep her company? I was like, okay, sounds good. I realized that the time limit was running out, and so my sister offered to pay the ticket for me and not to worry about it. And I was like, okay. And as soon as that button was clicked, that was a guilty plea, which instantly suspended my license, which
Oh,
I did
wow.
not know.
Ugh.
So the cop pulls me over, and he walks right up to my window. This is in Glen Ellen again. And he goes, Tim Pool? And I was like, yes. And he goes, you're under arrest, out of the car. And I was like, excuse me? He's like,
Excuse me.
license is suspended. And I was like, what? And he was like, do you have someone who can come pick you up? I can I-bond you right now, and you can leave, and you'll have a court date. And I was just confused. I was like, I don't understand. Why is my license suspended? And he was like, I don't know. I don't care. And so there were I talked to some lawyers, and they said, what did he pull you over for? And I said, nothing. I wasn't doing anything. It's like, oh, so he illegally stopped your vehicle. What I was told was running a plate and seeing a name and then seeing the license suspended isn't a justification for pulling a vehicle over because it could be driven by somebody else.
Okay.
Let's say you're driving my car to go get milk, and he pulls you over and goes, Tim Pool, and you go, no, it was an illegal stop. Once he found out it was me, then the lawyer told me, you'll never win. It's a waste of time. Nobody cares. So I ended up having to plead guilty.
What does this have to? I'm just curious. Why did you start bringing that up? What are you talking about?
My gut instincts.
Oh, okay.
When I
Yeah.
saw that cop car,
Mhm.
and I knew he was going to pull me over and something bad was about to happen, and I could have just
Okay.
gotten off the road and gone to the store like I wanted to,
Mhm.
but instead I figured I'll keep driving.
Human instincts are powerful, yo.
From that moment on, I've always said, whatever my gut tells me, I go with.
Good. Yep.
And so that's the story.
I try to live that way too.
That's the story. And that's why, to wrap it back up to the more stupid stuff, is that I think it's going to get really, really bad next year.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I've been thinking for a long time, and that's what I'm betting on. Thanks for checking out this clip from the Timcast IRL podcast. We do the show live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. If you want to catch the full show, tune in to this channel, subscribe, hit the like button, or check us out on iTunes and Spotify, and we will soon have this podcast up for free on all podcast platforms. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you all in the next episode.